Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulihil Kareem. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsanin ila yawmiddin. Amma ba'd. Respected brothers and sisters, friends and colleagues, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Should I call it good evening or good morning? Because as your evening begins, for me it's time for breakfast. Because where I came from last night is 9 hours ahead of Britain. Hong Kong, Macau, China, and so on. It's been a very, very tiring journey to those countries. In Hong Kong, I was there for some, you can say, setting up of our office, meeting the team members and so on. In Macau, which was the main purpose to travel that part of the world, was United Nations conference outlining next 15 years strategy. You may have heard Millennium Development Goals, which are eight Millennium Development Goals, which were formed back in 1990s to start from 1st January 2001 till 31st December 2015. So those development goals target or the time frame is about to finish at the end of this year, basically after a couple of months. So therefore, next target needed to be identified, which they've been talking about it over past couple of months, if not years. And at the end, we finalized 17 goals for next 15 years to be achieved by, you can say, possibly every single country in the world. It was honor and pleasure for myself to be part of it, to discuss those goals, to see the strategies, to observe the success and the failure of the past 8 goals, to see which country have stood out either way in success or failing. And it was indeed pleasure to speak in front of, you can say, prime ministers, ambassadors, and dignitaries from over 70 countries. I know and I do still believe that it is basically money is spent unwisely, that it is, you can say, luxurious events in 5-star hotels and so on, and discussing basically targets and so on, and spending millions and possibly hundreds of millions of pounds on discussion on the targets as opposed to delivery. But sadly, that's the reality of it, and that's how we live, and that's how hundreds of thousands of people, possibly over 1 million people, are employed or receiving their bread and livelihood through this network. With regard to Gaza, I mean, you know, UNRWA, UNWRA. UNRWA is working in that part of the world. Just UNRWA is basically focusing only on Gaza, Palestine, and it is refugees in surrounding countries. So it's dedicated for Gaza and Palestine. And they employ 30,000 people. 30,000 people in that part of the world. So many people, they have their livelihood attached to these organizations and so on. As much as we basically see lavish events and so on, but still, nevertheless, they do play a part somehow or up to a certain level in the lives of those who need our support and attention. Talking about Alpher Foundation, you've been introduced briefly that Alpher Foundation working across the globe in different areas. Before I go into that, I would like to mentioned that if a person have a vision, commitment, dedication, then nothing can stop you. You know, when I applied for my first job in UK, I was refused. Why? Because I was unable to speak English at the age of 24. Why? Because I did not had any formal, forget about qualification or degree, I did not had any educational background. My entire education was Islamic education, where I studied Arabic, Quran, Hadith, Tafsir, and associated subjects. Never knew a single word of science, maths, physics, any of those subjects. It was 9 years of education in West Yorkshire. Would you believe that me living in West Yorkshire in boarding school is still unable to speak English? Why? Because the entire education was in Arabic language, or second language of the boarding school was Urdu, and we were encouraged to speak English. Although my teachers and everybody tried their hard to persuade me to speak English or to take some lessons and so on, but for some reason I was not into it. I came to Britain when I was 15 years old, and my mind was not accepting to go for English language as a subject. Therefore, I focused on my Arabic education and graduated from there. Now, a person who never been to primary or secondary school, what could be worse tragedy than that very person stands up and establish a primary and secondary school in heart of South London, Croydon, right next to Home Office of Britain. You know, and it is part of that tragedy that this very same school, which is started from my living room with 5 students, and someone told me that if you have 5 children or more, then you need to register with Department for Education, otherwise they could shut down or they could take action against you. So I had to register, and it was a point where basically other parents were interested to send their kids to my house. Now, me being uneducated, you can imagine I wasn't teaching them English or maths. No, I was just giving them tarabiyah, we call, upbringing, in my own language, in my own style. But parents were quite pleased with it, and they wanted to send more children. I spoke to one of my friends at that time who I thought is a state agent that have few properties or managing few properties here and there. He used to pray behind me. Sometime I used to drive in his flashy cars and so on, multimillionaire or whatever. And I said to him that I need a location where I can teach few children, maybe a shop or garage or whatever, because my living room is very small. There is not enough space to even put a double bed instead of single. He said, what's your plan? What you want to achieve? I spoke to him about it. He said, no, put it in writing and explain it to me. Trust me, that was the first time in my life that I had to touch computer. It took me 8 hours to type 2 pages on Word document, almost whole night. But those 8 hours were worthwhile, because next day when I presented that paper to him, he said, listen, I've been praying behind you for past 8 years, and I can see every single word of this coming into reality. He said, I have one property in mind, let me show you that. If you like it, you can have that one. Otherwise, I have another bigger property which I can show you. I said, okay, fine. He said, I'll show you the smaller one first. The smallest property, as soon as you enter, it was a hall like this. Upstairs, there are a few rooms. Then next hall, and then massive sports area. 15,000 square foot building. I said, which room is mine? he gave me the keys. He said, entire building is yours. I said, I don't have even 15 children. He said, Qasim, I've been praying behind you, and I know you will be successful, and after 1 year, you will tell me that the building is very small. I said that, I know you're managing this property, but was the rent and about basically all those financial? He goes, no, don't worry about it. We'll speak after 1 year. And even you don't have to take care of utilities and council tax or rent rates, whatever. I'll look after all those. And I said, is the owner mad? He said, yes, because I'm the owner. I said, bloody hell, why didn't you tell me before? I was thinking you are just an estate agent. Anyway, it was nice of him. He offered me entire building for 1 year rent-free and so on. And within basically 3 weeks, we reached from 17 to 57 children. Within 1 year, 10 classrooms. And within a couple of years, we established other schools around the world. Within 5 years, we established first television channel aimed at education of ethnic minority in UK. And now, alhamdulillah, we are number 35th best secondary school in the country out of 7,500 secondary schools. Thank you. So that's how Al-Khair started. Now you can see a person who never been to school, who worked at £850 a month for 8 years without any promotion, without any single rise in the pay, and takes one basically unexpected step, establish a school where basically community was not that supportive. Community wrote to Department of Education, ministers and so on, that what the hell are you doing? Why are you giving him permission to establish a school? The guy have never been to school himself. And they said, well, but when we looked at his policies, procedure, everything, he has everything in place. He have covered everything. So if determination is there, then definitely something can be achieved. If one single person single-handedly can progress up to here, then what I'm trying to say is basically what we, all of us, can achieve together for just 1.7 million people of Gaza. If all of us today go out of this hall with one mission, one vision, one aim, I'm sure we can kill it. Inshallah. Alpher Foundation's humanitarian work, any aspect you touch is in huge numbers, huge numbers. For example, in Pakistan, there was floods in 2010, 2011. And Al-Khair was not seriously into humanitarian activity up to 2010. The very first coordinated humanitarian activity of Al-Khair was Haiti earthquake on 12th January 2010. After that, we went to Haiti and we worked along with UN at that time. But in 2010, later on, Pakistan floods happened. And I did not have one single staff in Pakistan, not a single team member. Surprisingly, majority of the people, anybody who know me, if you ask them where Imam Qasim is from, they would say he's from Pakistan. Why? Because he does so much work in Pakistan. The reality is that I don't have even one single relative in Pakistan. I was not born in Pakistan. I'm not from Pakistan. But the work speaks for itself. Where in 2010, we did not have one single staff. Right now, we have over 300 senior staff, professional staff, who are managing various projects. At certain stages, we have 1,300, 1,400 staff members in Pakistan managing various projects. So within 4 years, from 0 to over 1,000 staff, it is a result itself. Talking about Africa, without going into much detail, at least 1.7 million, 1,700,000 people are receiving water every single day through our Water for Africa program. 1.7 million every single day receiving water. Not that they are reached or they have access to. No, they are receiving. Why? Because for Africa, you may have heard that there is a shortage of water, obviously, but the solution is water well and so on. And each water well cost about $4,000, $5,000, $2,500, £3,500. Rather than me going for the same traditional project, we looked at trying to solve the problem on mass level. And literally, we looked into deep borehole project where you have to dig in the ground half a kilometer to possibly up to 1 kilometer in the ground. It was such a project that country did not have the infrastructure to meet our vision or our demand. We had to make the machine according to our need and import that machine into African countries. Each machine costing over $800,000, around £500,000. That's the courage you need if you want to solve a problem. And I can see, inshallah, not basically, I can't say within 5 months or 10 months or a year, but possibly in 10 to 15 years, we will be able to solve water problem in Africa by possibly 80 to 90%. If within 2 years, we are providing water to 1.7 million people, and within 10 years, we could be providing to 17 million people, if not more. And this is without any hard effort, without any, you can say, massive infrastructure and so on. So much achievement, but not one single office building in any of those countries. Not one single office block, working just from homes, residences, or whatever. Anyway, for Gaza, the main purpose which we are here tonight for, Gaza, obviously, I wouldn't say is a Muslim issue. It is humanity issue. And we, all of us, are one for that. Just as any other crisis, if, for example, ISIS, Boko Halal or Boko Haram, whatever you want to call it, and these type of faces which basically try to bring bad image of Islam, all of us, we are united against them. Similarly, when it comes to Gaza, we, all of us, are united regardless what language we speak, what religion we hold, we believe or not, what color we are, what gender or what age. All of us are united in this. My first visit to Gaza was in 2009. And I'm not saying this as a formality, it is a reality. One of the most humble, most patient, and thankful nation on the face of the planet I have seen are the people of Gaza. Most humble, thankful, and so on. So much has happened with them, but still they are with courage and they have a smile on their face. They are thankful to God Almighty in every single breath. They appreciate the support they receive from anywhere in the world. They believe that the support they are receiving is a favor upon them rather than a duty for others towards them, although we need to support them as our duty towards them. In 2009, while I was in Gaza, obviously it was straight after the war, and even after that there were incidents of shooting and firing and so on. I was surprised to see the level of distraction and how basically things were targeted. Even if there is water tank which store water for 100, 200 people, even that was destroyed. It was such a level of distraction that Lauren Booth, sister-in-law of Tony Blair, was with me, and literally at every step she was crying for those days. The group who went with us was in tears all the time. And it is from that moment I decided that we need to do something for these people. And I know that as much as I do is not enough, but I can open-heartedly say that Gaza is one of the most important, or the most important project I have taken on board. I just want to share a few numbers with you. Since last war in July 2014, literally 13 months ago, over 19,000 homes have been destroyed. It's easy for us to listen to these figures, the number of deaths and so on. Let me give you the exact detail of that. 2,205 people have died, have been killed. Out of them, 1,483 civilians. So almost 2/3 civilian. Out of them, 521 children and 283 women. So 1 in every 4 persons who were killed were a child. 19,000 homes destroyed. What does it mean? It means nearly 115,000 people became homeless suddenly. If we have boiler breakdown in our home, if we have some electricity fault or anything like that, we face such a difficulty. What would happen if you lose your home completely? If you lose your home completely, what would happen? And this is the state of those people. So anyway, we are here to work for them, to do whatever we can from our ability and so on. Right now, we are focusing on education project in Gaza, as well as water and livelihood and so on, but education, we're taking it on higher level. Today, during workshops, those who participated, you have listened to the people from Gaza. You have heard the educationalists, you have heard doctors, you have heard professors, you have heard business community, you have heard construction people, you have heard educational, different backgrounds. Whole day we were basically busy on Skype with them, listening to their need. And the next projects we would like to take on board is to propose to Scotland community to outsource their services to the people of Gaza. We from Alpher Foundation would like to be one of the first one to outsource many of our activities, including our call center, to Gaza. We would like to outsource our professional needs, for example, architecture and so on, to Gaza, so it creates jobs for them. Even if we establish a small call center for now, 10, 20, 30 people, our call center at some points require 50 staff. If we manage to run that successfully in Gaza, then we can present that to many other companies who can adopt same model. And I can see in coming months, coming days, there will be thousands of people employed in Gaza through you, through your businesses, your organizations, and so on. Another project I would like to start from Gaza for international community, which is mainly for Muslim community, is Quran learning, online Quran learning. Currently, people around the world, those who do not have access to masajids, mosques, or Islamic centers, they are learning Quran online from Pakistan, India, and so on. What would be better than having a teacher from Gaza, from Palestine? And we can see in time there will be thousands of teachers teaching Quran, Arabic language to wider community, and different subjects and so on. I have so much to explain, but the time is not there. So therefore, I will conclude here, and if anyone would like to discuss plans in detail, I'll be available. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.